All right, since I see myself as the first one on the left side, Alex Kutsishin here, co-founder, CEO of Sales Boomerang, and excited to have this conversation today.
I'm Ernie Graham with Homebot. This is going to be fun.
I'm Jason Frazier of EPM.
Awesome. And if I could just remind everybody, feel free to use the chat, the Q&A, but if you have any questions throughout the webinar, just drop those into the Q&A section. We're going to have a Q&A at the end where panelists are going to answer some questions live, and we also have some folks on the line to answer your questions as we run through. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is the market summary. What's going on in the market, guys? What's happening out there?
Well, there it is on the screen. Obviously COVID has affected the way, move patterns and migration patterns, low rates, because everybody want to go buy properties. But I think that the really big story obviously is inventory. There's just no inventory. Alex?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is, so I want to echo that, but I also want to share something interesting. Two conversations back to back that we've had today and yesterday. For the first time in over a year, we hear lenders concerned with the volume. They've staffed up. They have a lot of people they're trying to support, and they're seeing volume as being a necessity now, right? In the past, a year or so, it's like we got enough volume, but all of a sudden it's become a necessity again. So that goes in with what we're seeing here. The purchase demand is up, the inventory is down, so the volume is starting to stagnate a little bit. So first time in over a year, people are saying we need volume. Any thoughts there, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, you both said it, but I'd also say that it's not just the demand and the inventory, it's the competition, right? It's the competition when you're actually trying to buy a house, especially for the first time home buyer market. And to touch on a little bit of what you said, Alex, when it comes to, volume, is I think the time is now. I think we like it was hard in 2020. Everyone was doing record business. But I think right now is honestly the best time to have this conversation, especially when as it pertains to HomeBot and Sales Boomerang and what that can do for a lender. Is that I think everyone needs to remember 2017, 2018, and Q1 of 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, that is on the horizon at some point. The shift happens. It always does. Now is the time to be invested in something like this.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. Next question I'm going to ask, how can lenders maximize their purchase business this year? We know there's low inventory. We know folks want to buy. How can lenders kind of navigate this and make sure that they're maximizing their purchase business?
I'll jump into this real quick and then pass the baton along. So we believe that maximizing purchase business this year and really moving forward as sort of the industry continues to evolve is strong partnerships with your referral partners. I'm not talking about I have a good relationship with a realtor. I'm talking about you're operating as one unit, right? You are one. Everything happens as one single unit. Purchase and the real estate side and the funding side is one unit. You guys have the same message, the same purpose. You're driving the same message to your customers together. It is about creating those synergies right now and aligning on your strategies and not relying on one person to do one thing, the other person to do the other thing, and hopefully somewhere in the middle, the customer will benefit. No, it's the same voice from two different places. It's united, and that is how you maximize it. You guys are going to see some amazing stats that Ernie's going to show. We're going to show when you actually partner with one united front, what that means for your business. And that, I believe, is not just something that you're going to see in 2021. You need to practice it this year. You need to get proficient in it this year, but this will be the trend for the industry moving forward, is not just co-branding and co-marketing here and there, but literally a united front. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. So
yeah,
Jason,
and I would echo that too. I think that for me, that's the what is the partnering to expand your sphere, but also to be close with your partners that way. The how, I think, is much more nuanced that I'll spend some more time digging in today. But the how for me is that when you say purchase business, that means buyers. and I think a lot of times we talk about as an industry, it's like buyers versus homeowners, and that's just not the case. Buyers are currently homeowners, and buyers are also currently renters. So the personas here aren't buyers. It's homeowners that are buying, renters that are buying. And I think when you break it down like that, it sort of exposes some really significant opportunities. I know it seems really simple, but first of all, as a lender, with your own database of past homeowners, there's gold in then their hills, because there is a segment of those existing homeowners that are buyers, which that represents purchase business. And then all those pre-quals that you never closed that were for renters and first-time home buyers, of course, those are also buyers as well. And then really that same concept really just applies to the real estate agent as well. But I think that's going to be for me, that's a really key understanding, that you really have to bifurcate this to understand, how do you go get homeowners that are buying? How do you go get renters that are buying?
Yep.
Yeah. And I would add that, and to take from what both you said is, Alex talked about, being one unit and ultimate value. And let's be honest, a lot of loan officers neglected their agent partnerships last year, right? And so if you did, and now you're coming back saying, hey, sorry about that or whatever, you need to have some value. Like, you need to have something that's going to offer that. And Ernie hit it on the head, is look, what Ernie's really talking about is you need to be tactical. Stop putting everybody in one box, right? Segment them. Look at your database. Got to have the tools. So value and being tactical, that's how you're going to maximize your purchase business.
Great points.
Next.
Fantastic. So we talked a little bit about lender realtor partnerships. Let's dive into that a little bit further. How do these partnerships benefit everybody involved, from the loan officer to the realtor to their mutual clients? Alex, do you want to kick this one off?
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to. So look, when we talk about creating a united front to becoming one voice, one message, the benefits, a lot of you are probably listening to this right now and going, I can understand the benefits, but let's unpack it a little bit. When you have two voices, and just understand, everyone on the call, just understand that this isn't just something Alex is coming up with or something Sales Boomerang has been thinking about. We actually commissioned a psychologist to help us understand this. And two voices are always better than one. Okay. Two voices are always better than one. And you may think to yourself, like, I'll give you an instance. Let's see, how does a realtor benefit from a refi? Okay. This is, now we're talking about purchase, but let me give you an example of what one united front means, because it helps on both sides. When a realtor is notified that their customer is doing a refi with you, you might be thinking, why would a realtor care? Well, the realtor cares because if they can get the refi with you, the lender, then the purchase is a higher chance of happening between you and that lender also, right? That buyer is doing a second or a third transaction with the lender, and you look at the percentage increase of a chance of them coming back and doing a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh deal goes up tremendously. It's a compound effect. So the more deals your lender does for you, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, the higher chance that you're going to get the purchase back, right? Vice versa. When you can pass a purchase deal right back to your realtor, you talk to a buyer or a borrower, find out that they're in the market for a purchase, and you can pass that information back to your realtor. Obviously, the realtor has an instant benefit. You, the LO, has a benefit too. But the biggest benefit is that you both of you just got that deal together, and the buyer, the customer, just heard your voices again, right? That's so important. Psychologically, you've all heard the phrase, it takes a village. This is part of the village mentality. When I feel safe in a community, and this is a community approach. And so when you're working in not just, hey, I'm going to pay for some of your marketing, just send me some of your referrals, but you literally have a strategy of going after your database and after new business together as a team, and the voice is the same. The benefit, as you can see, the three things written out: LO, realtor, and client. To the client, my goodness, the path of least resistance of working with somebody that knows me and understands me and has been there with me before, and I don't have to explain myself to them over and over again. There's already a relationship. So the client benefit is very clear. The realtor and LO benefit is where sometimes people get things mistaken, and you as a lender, should always be working with your realtor, even when it's refi related, cash out related, nothing purchase related. You should always be letting your realtor know that there's an event happening with their customer, because there's a mutual benefit with both of you contacting the customer. Even if the realtor just calls and says, hey, congrats, you're working with Jason again at EPM. Man, that's awesome, right? The voice, I'm not even selling anything. What a wonderful experience for a buyer to hear a realtor call to not sell anything, but just to congratulate them. That is the benefit of a true partnership. That is key.
Jason?
Yeah, I think, with what Alex just talked about, really what that is something that we've all heard, and that's customer lifetime value. And that is strengthened when it is a true partnership, right? Because you're like Ernie said about there's gold in them hills is the same thing as that's your database. Your database is your bank, and yet it's the thing that we neglect the most, right? And so when you have that partnership, stronger together, it actually helps, right? What Alex just said is very powerful, right? When there is no selling, when it is a true partnership, right? And then let's just look at the underlying narrative is that we're talking about winning local, right? The local real estate expert and the local mortgage expert. The more that partnership is between those two experts, the better the industry not just survives, but endures and tells that homeowner that we are the best option, right? And so I think, with that, customer lifetime value is what you want, and having that strong partnership is what's going to make that happen.
Yeah, I'd resonate with both of you guys on this one. I think that the LO benefit is pretty straightforward. It's expanding your sphere to all of the clients of all the realtors that you partner with. The realtor, and this is where I think it's a little bit more nuanced, is that the realtor and realtors, all realtors, have always struggled with post-close nurture. I was a realtor for many years. I owned a brokerage. I worked at Realtor.com. And this is something that just kills me, that realtors have been incapable of doing well for forever. And that is, once they close a deal, that they keep that customer until the next deal. They just don't do a very good job. And it's not, some of it isn't their fault, because, they're like, well, what do you talk about for 7 years or 10 years? What do you talk about? There's only so many, banana bread recipes, right? And actually their one trick pony obviously is listing notifications, active, sold, and under contract. But that only goes so far, because it's such a narrow subject matter about the properties listed in the neighborhood. And like I said, it's been their one trick pony. It doesn't work as well as it used to, because now you got these little companies like Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com who are damn good at that too. So their one trick pony of using that to stay connected to their clients, the efficacy of that is just fallen off the cliff. So here's where I'm going with this. What the LO does for the realtor is really simple. It brings subject matter of home finance and home finance value to the realtor's clients. And so basically, it's a tremendous weapon, new weapon for the realtor to be able to use to stay connected to their clients 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 7 year, 10 years. So they are sitting there waiting to relist that property when the time comes. But it's really the LO is bringing subject matter expertise and transactions that the realtor just can't do on their own. And I think that's something that I think lenders really sell themselves short on, is how valuable that expertise is to just doing the nurture. And then on the client side, I think that, this is a slide that kind of summarizes, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying, Alex, is that, we always look at this as being this trusted triad for the benefit of Holly homeowner. So when you have a loan officer and agent that are working together, not just on the transaction, but days, weeks, months, years after the transaction, now they are operating as an advisory. Because remember what I said, Michael, the loan officer, has a lot of expertise that Wendy doesn't have. And Wendy has a lot of expertise. Together you stand, divided you fall. But it's not just about their advisory, it's about the content and the expertise that they can bring jointly to Holly over time. And I think that, for me, just to land the plane on this, we've done a lot of research on this from the very beginning of Homebot. And the short answer is, that's what Holly wants. Holly wants Wendy and Michael to work together in her best interest. It's just that there haven't been a lot of great ways from a technology perspective for that to happen. But, again, I think it's really important. So the benefit here is that Holly now gets a united team that can really look after her best interest and all the nuances of that over a longer period of time.
And just to add something so interesting, to add to this, about 10 years ago, flew out to LA, stayed at a Westin with friends, and one of our friends got really sick, and we had to end the trip early and come back home. And Westin ended up calling us a few days after we got home to ask how our friend was doing. There's no sales in there. There was just caring. There was no like, hey, now that I called you, do you guys want to book something in another place next time you go? None of that. There was no sales. It was just, and what you're saying, Ernie, is that knowledge without having to, it's not about salesmanship. It's about knowledge and giving yourself without any expectations, just caring about the relationship. When Weston called and asked that question, what do you think happens now when our friends go back to LA to stay somewhere? There's no other place they're going to stay. There's literally no other place they consider, because when somebody from the front desk calls and asks how you're doing 3 days after you left their hotel without asking you to buy anything, it just shows you that they're calling because they actually care, right? Even if it might be a script for them, it doesn't matter. It felt like they cared. And that is the beauty of a partnership. Ernie, what you're talking about is information. Same thing Jason was talking about, together, stronger together. That is this relationship. That is the lender realtor relationship, and the beneficiary, truly the beneficiary, ends up being the client. And when the client is happy, Ernie, what happens to business?
For me, this human unlock of an advisory of real people helping people.
Yep.
It's not your defense. That's your offense against these brands and these systems and these technology platforms that want to disintermediate humans out of all of this. That is the superpower here.
Yes.
And so let's lean some more into that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. I love this. This is super helpful. I think we're going to dive in now, to how you can keep humanity at the center of that process and leverage technology that enables this kind of trusted triad that Ernie and Alex and Jason are talking about to exist and help everybody share their expertise for a mutually beneficial partnership across these three different folks in the process. So I'm going to hand it over to Jason to kick this one, or sorry, Ernie to kick this off. So Ernie, tell us a little bit about Homebot and how lenders can build realtor relationships, have that humanity, and share their expertise while partnering with agents through Homebot.
So I realized that we probably have, I was looking at the chat a second ago, that we have a bunch of Homebot customers that are on the webinar today. So I put just about 3 or 4 slides together, because what I wanted to do is give everybody that doesn't know what Homebot is just a quick primer on it. But I also wanted to highlight some nuggets of gold, if you will, for our existing customers, users, to really fully utilize Homebot to drive more purchase business. So here's the short on it. For those of you who don't know, is that Homebot is it's a client for life portal for all of your clients. So if you've got 500 clients, you put them into your Homebot account, and then Homebot creates 500 different portals and then pings them every single month with an email to pull them into the portal. You can almost think about it like Credit Karma for the home. And here's what it does. It gets your clients addicted. It's addicted for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons. So they're addicted because it helps them track their home value and their loans and their equity, but then it gives them all these personalized home finance insights, and it's all dynamic. So these are private, These are dynamic, real, personalized experiences for all 500 of your clients or all 100 of your clients or 1,000 of your clients. We just make it so easy, just big red easy button. But I think the real power here is that it's not episodic or situational. This is an experience that follows your clients for days, weeks, months, year. It doesn't matter if you give it to them the day after they closed on their first home or their fifth home, or 5 years after they've lived in it. It does not matter. The tool really conforms and automatically melds to where they are in that life cycle to create and to give them value. So super addictive too. People are in that. You can pretty much expect if you've got a database of 100, 50 of them are in every month. If you have a database of 1,000, 500 of your clients are going to be glued into this thing. And of course, it's branded to you. Next slide.
I see you're using our voice activated slide changer.
Yes, it works. So I'm going to go back to so now that I kind of explained what Homebot is, I'm going to get a little bit more nuanced here I really want you guys to feel where I'm going with this. Earlier, we were talking about how rates are low, buyer appetite is through the roof, but inventory is low. This is the critical problem, low inventory. And if you are thinking that you as a lender, there's nothing you can do about the inventory crisis, I'm going to show you are wrong. And not only are you wrong for your own database, you have to start thinking about how to help solve this problem with your realtor partner. So let me just talk about one aspect of this. So let's just say and I'm just going to use this and frame this as a lender, I want you to think about how this would work with your existing database of clients. Homebot engages these homeowners, your clients, to help and will help them understand when they should sell. It's just that simple. Your database is all homeowners. So Homebot wants to help them understand when to sell. Now, why is that important? Well, as the inventory has gone down, values have gone up. And I'm going to go ahead and share this with you too. We have hundreds of calls to action across the Homebot experience. About 6 months ago, the number one call to action was refi. Should I be refiing right now? 5 months and 29 days ago, there was a new number one on the Homebot system. And by the way, this is across over 5 million homeowners in the US. 1 out of 10 mortgage holders in the US have Homebot. The number one call to action today is, should I sell? It's right there at the top of their brain. They're thinking, well, geez, my home value's gone up. Should I sell? Should I sell? So Homebot in this little screenshot, it shows them a lot of different factors that might affect whether or not they believe it right now is the right time to sell. So that's number one, using your existing database to mine the gold. And the gold is, if you find out that one of your clients is thinking about selling, do you think that your realtor partner is going to be happy or sad, Alex, that you have a listing for them?
I would say ecstatic.
It is the gold, and you can mine for this gold. And of course, as a lender, you're not going to list the property, but to be able to hand a listing off
Exactly.
to the realtor, it's never been a more powerful, more rare thing. That's why I call it the gold. So that's number one. Mine your homeowners, find the gold, give that gold to your realtor partners. Number two, the other thing that Homebot does is that you can load all of your pre-quals that never closed. You can load renter. You can go give a presentation to a bunch of renters, and Homebot will serve the renter. So there's a whole experience for renters in Homebot too. But here's the catch. And you're going to see me switch gears here in a second. So when you're doing this as a lender, and you don't have a home address, you pretty much treat everybody like a renter, right? Because you don't really know whether or not they own a home or not. Well, what we've done with Homebot is that we're actually always asking them as a renter, or what we think might, or as a buyer, do you own a home? 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 So what it does for that part of your database is it helps convert what you thought were just buyers to homeowners. Now rinse and repeat on that first step. So we're really helping you find not just the gold, but then take it a step up, how to find the homeowners that are in your buyer databases and then find the gold again with them. So let's put a pin in that, because you've noticed here, all I've talked about is, as a lender, your database and how you might mine for gold, as it were, in your database. Next slide. But this is where it gets fun, because Homebot also lets you partner with realtors, and they get to use Homebot too. So when your realtor partners use Homebot, all of the finance calls to action are branded to you. But if you're talking to a realtor partner and you want to talk to them about Homebot, you don't have to give them a 58-minute webinar. You just say, hey, I've got this amazing tool that's going to keep you from getting Zillowed. And by the way, if you tell a realtor you're going to keep them from getting Zillowed, that means that you're going to keep them from getting thieved by Zillow on their listings. Zillow's stealing all their listings. They're either buying the property direct or they're selling it as a lead when they go check their home value. This is a big problem for your realtors.
That's a New York Times headline, by the way.
You have to have empathy for your realtor partners around the theft of the gold. So here's where it gets fun. You've already figured out how to mine gold. Why not help them mine for their own gold in their own database? Exactly. And by the way, that's amazing for them. And really, if nothing else, you think the story, the narrative that you get to share with your realtor partners addresses their number one pain point right now, which is listings, gold. So I notice I pointed out down here too, there's some cool parts. So when your realtor partners give Homebot to all of their clients, we've got this new video feature too, to where all the videos that you do for your Homebot with your clients automatically syndicate into your realtor partners Homebot that's going out to their clients as well. So the realtor doesn't, it's a big red easy button for them. They don't have, you're doing all the splaining, as it were. But this is the effect. And this is, I'm going to land the plane here with this last piece. So what I'm talking about here scales. And this is the big idea, you guys. Remember I said earlier, how does the loan officer benefit? You're scaling out your sphere. Notice here as Michael, the loan officer, adds these different agent partners, each one of their clients, their reach increases. So not only is Michael, the loan officer, using it for his past clients and his prospective buyers, which we were talking about, but every single agent partner that he adds increases that reach. He's not paying Facebook or Google, or he's not doing that. All he's doing is getting more partners. And so Homebot is now extending that reach for him in a way that these realtors, they're not freaked out by this. They're not spooked. They love it because of everything we were already talking about. It keeps them from getting Zillowed, and you're helping them nurture their clients through the full life cycle of home ownership. So here's the proof is in the pudding. So here's what I would say. Of all the thousands and thousands of loan officers that are using Homebot, that have decided that they want to partner with realtors on Homebot, look at these stats. They are accessing and getting additional reach of 330 clients. That's incredible. They're bumping their reach up by 86% and 50% more client conversions because of this too. In other words, if you have your choice of saying, oh, you want to go out and do performance marketing or Facebook and social media ad spend and do all of that, you can do that. And I know that some of you are very proficient at that.
Yep.
But for the rest of us, let's keep this simple. The real estate agent has a sphere of clients. And if you can have empathy for their problem and present them with a solution like this, they will be happy to join in forces with you to serve the consumer, serve your prospects, serve your shared clients going forward. So anyway, that's sort of the Homebot angle on this too. Drive more listings for out of your own database, and then go to your agent partners and help them drive listings out of their database. I'll leave you with one final thought too. Just one little piece of insight. Real estate agents aren't good at something else. They are not good at keeping homeowners in their database. If you were to look at the typical the typical realtor's database, it has a few home addresses and it has a whole lot of buyers with basically name and email and maybe some criteria about what they're looking for. So the realtor, the other pitch, if you will, around the don't get Zillowed, is that you can also help them convert their buyer databases into homeowner databases. This is such a valuable thing that you can do for your agent partners. Help them convert their buyers, because statistically, about half the buyers, quote unquote, buyers in their database aren't renters. They're actually already homeowners. So by turning them on to Homebot, you're helping them find the homeowners in their database. And then once they know who the homeowners are, then it mines for gold for who's ready to list their property. So again, empathy, and then actually have a solution to go and help the realtor partner with their biggest pain point in the market right now.
It's amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ernie. I'm going to pass it over to Alex to talk a little bit about Sales Boomerang, and then we'll hear from Jason, because Jason has had a lot of experience here with Homebot and Sales Boomerang in terms of purchase business and realtor relationships, and he's going to share some of his insights with you as well. So take it away, Alex.
So Ernie, question for you real quick. You said the proof is in the pudding. What flavor pudding is it?
It's chocolate.
Chocolate. All right. I like vanilla better, but all right. I knew you were going to say chocolate. I was like, yeah, he's going to say chocolate.
It's chocolate pudding. It's
chocolate. Listen, guys, first of all, Ernie, that was excellent. That was beautiful. The value of Homebot is undeniable. And, I talked to you before we jumped on here that I was speaking to. I'm going to call it out because Harrison is on here. Harrison, let me hear you type into the chat. What's up? Sam Rosenblatt just loves, what he's been getting from you guys, and he talked you guys up, and what you're just presenting is just beautiful. So, but listen, there's a reason why Ernie and Homebot and Sales Boomerang are on this together and not separate. For those of you that have ever watched Power Rangers, you will know that individually these Power Rangers are amazing. But when they combine together, they are unstoppable. I mean, they can take on monsters the size of skyscrapers and win. And so how does this match up together? Each individual solution is incredible, but when you bring them together, the results are monumental, truly. So look, I could skip right to the end of this presentation and show you guys some stats, but I'm going to walk you through for everyone that doesn't know what Sales Boomerang is all about. The first question you saw on screen a second ago is what is the benefit of building a relationship with Realtor and Sales Boomerang. So first things first, everything Ernie talked about grabbing the database, being empathetic, understanding that there's some missing information that realtors have. When a realtor partners with a lender that uses Sales Boomerang, and that realtor truly partners with that lender, meaning they're sharing their data, they're working on the data together, literally, you will double the volume of that realtor within 12 months because of exactly what Ernie talked about. There's a lot of missing information. There's a lot of missing opportunities for realtors. They're shaking hands and being out there in the public. And because of COVID, a lot of that has changed. But even without COVID, there's still a lot of missing information. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of there's a lot of information that a realtor simply is not allowed to get access to, like credit information. As a lender, you're allowed to have that, so you can support your realtors by going, look, I can't tell you the credit score of this borrower, but I can tell you that we're ready to help them, right? Let's get on the horn with them. So we're going to get into that right now. as Sales Boomerang, as you can see here, our mission is no borrower left behind, and ultimately it's about putting the right borrower into the right loan at the right time, right? And as so many of our customers have voiced to us, and we've voiced this to the industry, we have become a utility. It's one of those things where you can see Monopoly cards here. Monopoly called us, said they're going to add this to their game. It's incredible, truly. But it is a utility, right? Having a running water, electricity, having CRMs, having LOSs, having things that you have to have in place to run your business. Sales Boomerang borrower intelligence has become a utility. It's one of those things where we just analyzed 120 of our lenders and looked at the percentage of business that came from their database over the last 12 months. And the smallest numbers we've seen for our clients is imagine 10% of their business comes from their own database. Now we've seen clients as high as 33% of their business has now come from their existing database. Guess what? Your realtors need that too. They need that. They need their databases to come to life because all they do is go hunting. They're not farming. They're a bunch of hunters, and you guys can help them. So if you can move, if we can go to the next slide. So understand this, and this is the part that is really hard for most people to grasp and digest and believe. And this is where, again, realtors fall short, and this is where you guys can help them. This is where the partnership comes in. The education that Ernie was talking about comes in. A human being living in the United States will have on average 11 mortgage-related transactions. 11, okay? And so, as you can see, we highlighted the ones that are purchase-related. As a lender, you get all 11. That's the beauty of being in the space that you're in. But your realtors have fewer opportunities. But they should have access to all of the opportunities that will be there. And without you, they're going to have a tough time getting those. Without you partnering with them, without you showing them the empathy and access to this information, they're going to have a tough time. And what Sales Boomerang specializes in, and what we're the best in the world at, is delivering every one of these opportunities at the exact time that's meaningful to your borrower. That's the important part. No more spam. Don't put them through the spam cycle, right? People, there's on your washing machines, there's spin cycles. Well, don't put them on a spam cycle. Don't be spamming your borrowers with things they don't need. Only be there for them when it's necessary. They're on their Homebot. They're interested. They're showing that they want to know when to sell. Now you can know exactly what they're in the market for, right? So Sales Boomerang will tell you what they're able to qualify for. They will let you know, hey, their credit is improved. Hey, they're qualified for a rate and term. Hey, they're qualified for this purchase, whatever it is. And that is the information you pass on to your realtor, right? So in this scenario that you're looking at here, out of 11 transactions, okay, there's 5 purchase opportunities. Most realtors get 1. As a matter of fact, realtors have retention rates way lower than lenders. At first it was surprising, but then we can understand why, because they don't have the access that you guys have. So you can actually bring every possible purchase transaction to your realtor by running this borrower intelligence system in the background and having all the insights on your database at all times, but not just your database, but also your realtor's database. Let's go to the next slide. So how active is your database? This is the shocking part. These are real numbers, guys. This is real numbers that go back to 30 days, right? So we go back 30 days and we say, how active are our lenders' databases? We have over 7 million, almost 7 million records that we're tracking for our lender partners. And this is an average of all of the databases combined, how active they are. Just want you to think about this for just a second, okay? 13.5% of your database can trigger an event, okay? Within within 1 month. That means more than 100% of your database can have an event, which means some of your people are having more than one event a year. But this is what people, and Ernie, you know this. This is the discovery that you guys have had with rolling this out too. How active customers really are, because people are like, oh, we just did a mortgage. It might be 3 years before they need something. No, we actually had to roll out something interesting, Ernie. I don't know if I ever told you about this. We actually had to roll out during COVID something called EPO Prevention Watch, because you did a loan for somebody in May and they're requiring again in June, right? And that costs money if they do that with someone else. And so my point is, these databases are extremely active to a tune of up to 13.5% of your database every single month. But guess what? Your home buyers, your borrowers are the exact same people that live inside the realtors' databases, and they're missing 100% of those. So when you get to bring them into your circle, when you get to unite with them, the message to be united, you start to see not just, and this is important, not just that you are getting more business, but because you are sharing that information with your partners, you're both getting more business, which creates a really interesting effect. The number of referrals you get from your partners goes up, and they're not all purchase related. I'll tell you guys a stat in just a minute when we get to the last slide, how much refi business you get by referring purchase back to your realtors. It is incredible. I'll share you an exact number. So the top section, you can see that's the different notifications, mortgage inquiry, credit improvement, early payoffs, equity information, specific loan scenarios. Now the system can tell you when somebody's qualified for specific loan with you, like a cash out or a rate and term or an MI removal loan. Completely qualified, your team gets the notification, can go to work on it right away, right? And then you see the stats at the bottom, the increase in retention for the entire organization, on average about 12%, the ROI that people are seeing when they're implementing borrower intelligence, the lift in loan volume you can see there, right? And as we talked about a little bit earlier, the first time in the last year and a half, we heard lenders talking about we need more volume. So this is that lever to pull to get that loan volume. Let's go to the next slide. And so this is the stats that we were talking about that I wanted to share with you guys. This is really, really interesting and impressive. So we had a lender, you may have heard us talk, and we're going to mention him by name here, Eustace Mortgage. May have heard us do a presentation about a month ago on this. So over a 9-month period, Eustace, and we have lots of lenders that do this, but we put them under a microscope. We said, please share all of your results of running an automated system where your realtors give you their database, and then you work as one cohesive unit on all purchase deals and all purchase opportunities with your realtor. In 9 months, okay? Now, before I give you some numbers here, I want to see anyone that's an originator, please, in the chat right now, real quick. Let's do 15 seconds. How many referrals do you get on average every month from your realtor partners? Just throw in some numbers real quick. Just and don't blow them up. Don't be shy. Just a realistic number. How many referrals do you get every single month from your realtor partners? Let's throw in some numbers. 0, 1, 0, 10, 2, 8, 0, geez, 0, 1, 1, 2 to 3. Beautiful. 15, 20-ish. I love it. Sean, that's amazing, by the way. So Sean, we're going to use your number. We're going to use your number because it's the biggest one I saw so far. Okay, 20. We're going to use 20. Sean, we multiply 20 times 9. That's 180 possible opportunities that you're going to get in 9 months. Eustace Mortgage referred to their realtor partners in 9 months, 460 opportunities for $150 million in purchase volume. They referred that business back to their realtor partners, and together they shared in $150 million worth of opportunities. That's what this system does. That's what this partnership does. That's what uniting and being one voice does. And never, ever, ever in history, and Eustace tells us this, our other partners tell us this, never in history, and by the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but Eustace is, I think, a 72 or 73-year-old mortgage company. So when they say, and Wallach and Volk is another one, over 100 years old in business, they say the same thing. Never in history have they been able to deliver more referrals back to their realtors than their realtors have been able to deliver back to them. And here's the unique stat, and I told you I'd share this with you. It's not on here, but I'm going to share it with you. In the 9 months that they ran this program under a microscope with us, the number of refi referrals, now hear me, this is very important. Most of your referral business from your realtors is purchase related. Over this 9-month period, they saw an increase by 30% more refi referrals from their realtors in those 9 months. That's what happens. When your realtors realize that this is the bread and butter, when you have Homebot running, when you have Sales Boomerang running, when you have nothing but delivering value, you're giving, your realtors start shutting off other valves. Ernie mentioned it. So it's great. Social media, other things are great, but they start to shut off valves. You're going to see it. It naturally happens. And literally, you can start to qualify the realtors you want to work with. You don't have to work with the realtor that doesn't believe what you believe in. It's okay. Let them work with somebody else. But if they do believe in what you believe in, you bring them into your circle and you give them more referrals than they've ever had in their life, and they build your business around you and your lending institution. And that is how you create a village. That is how you create a partnership. And that is how you move forward together for the benefit of ultimately the client. And so thank you guys for letting me share some things about Sales Boomerang. The results have just been remarkable. We couldn't wait to share this. And so let's hand it off to Jason.
Great. Thanks so much, Alex. So Jason, talk a little bit about Homebot, a little bit about Sales Boomerang, a lot about the market and what's going on right now. How do lenders use Homebot and Sales Boomerang to build agent partnerships and drive purchase business in your experience in the lending industry?
Well, this is the easiest question because Ernie and Alex just have served it up on a platter for me to do this. But let me talk it in terms of reality, right? And I've obviously being the chief strategist for EPM, this is things that I have to deal with every day. One, just touch on Sales Boomerang a little bit, just because look, we have a slide deck. Alex is talking about numbers, looks good. Alex is a handsome dude, right? So you're gonna listen to him, right? You're gonna be like, okay, cool, like I got it, I'm in. Sales Boomerang, whatever. Sales Boomerang is the foundation of EPM's retention efforts. Without Sales Boomerang, we would not be successful to that end, period, right? So just from proof, we service all of our loans, right? We would not be able to do that without Sales Boomerang because of what Alex said. So if anyone's on the fence like, okay, well, maybe it does, whatever, it works, okay? And if anyone that knows me in the industry knows that I only work with vendors and partners that work, right? Because there's a lot of stuff out there that looks pretty, that doesn't do what it is. Another thing that everyone needs to understand is that, and it all plays into what Ernie and Alex have talked about, is that what we do mostly in the mortgage industry is interrupt people, right? We don't work on intent, right? Homebot and Sales Boomerang is about intent. And if anyone in marketing will tell you what's more important, interruption or intent, it's intent, right? And that's what Homebot and Sales Boomerang does. It also helps you get to the consumer first, right? And you're like, well, they're already my client. They're still a consumer, right? They don't stop being consumer because they did a transaction with you, right? This also gets you out of being thought of just transactional and a commodity, because if the industry becomes transactional and a commodity only, and that's the narrative, then we lose. Right. So these are where these tools that help, because what does it do? It spurs conversation, right? Ernie talked about it. And I know this for proof because as a consultant, I brought Homebot on to multiple lenders before, is that when you're having those conversations, you're not, like how many pumpkin pie recipes can you send out, right? That's not going to cause a real conversation. But if a consumer or a bar or homeowner, they're invested in their asset. They just went through the mortgage process. They just invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Essentially in this asset, right? You need to give them something that matters, right? And then talk about to the agents, especially with low inventory. I know it's definitely an old side where it says like, time on market 132 days. It's now 132 minutes, right? Like it's not gonna last that long, right? But when you're talking about what you can help with agents, like that's important, right? Those listings are what's matter in our industry, because it's not instant gratification for the loan officers, like because they want buyers. They don't think about the long-term ROI of investing in your agent's business by giving them listings, because that's the hardest thing for them to get. Ernie will tell you that, right? Agents don't want buyers, they want listings, right? More than anything, because that's the hardest thing to do. So they need their partners to do that. And that's what this does. And I wrote down a lot of stuff, but here's the last thing that I'll leave you with. And this plays into both Ernie and Alex. Retention, right? Alex said 11 transactions, right? Right now, if we go off the industry standard of the percentage of retention that we do in our industry, that means you're getting less than 3. You're getting like 2.3, right? Based off of current retention. So they may be doing 11 transactions, but you're getting less than 3, right? So just think, the more that you invest in these tools, the more at-bats that you get, right? And we all know that it is far more expensive to acquire new customers than to service the ones that you have, right? And that's when, to go into what Ernie talked about with Facebook ads and stuff, and that's great to have. It's great to do. Look, you all know me. That's, I do that marketing and whatever, right? But it's about the conversations It's about, like I said, Homebot is the best immediate response tool in the industry. In fact, I would say it's the first immediate response tool in the industry. People respond to it. Why? Because it's intent, it creates conversations, and it's something that people actually care about, right? We need to start getting serious about what we want to do in our business and how we want to grow and how we're going to battle fintech and everything else. We need to be serious about that. That means we need to be relationship driven. We need to have conversations, and we need to add value, right? And you just saw a presentation that checks all those boxes.
Jason, I love
Wow.
that. When you
Beautiful.
you're talking about getting serious, actually you said a couple of things there about getting serious and being first to the customer. And then I saw in the chat, I saw someone talk about being top of mind. And, the way we think about getting serious is that you have to put information and content, you have to have engagement that has intrinsic value. It's, the days of just having your brand in front of somebody, that doesn't work anymore because everybody's doing that. I mean, we're all consumers. We all get inundated by this stuff. And so again, I'd pick up on, you got to get serious about the information, the advisory value that you're going to provide to your clients. And then the second thing here is this idea of being top of mind or getting to the customer first. As Ricky Bobby, you're either first or you are last. And you know what? Here's the thing though, here's a little twist to it. When it comes to your prospects and your clients, it's not really a race. It's not like this long race that takes 200 miles in several hours. It is happening every second. You have to be relentless with your sales boomerang notifications, with your Homebot notifications. This is not something you do for a day, a week, an hour, a month. And I'll tell you that the last thing is, I think we all know this now, that there are some giant tech companies in the industry with unlimited money, unlimited resources, very smart people. They know how to just constantly try to take your customers away from you. Mm-hmm. And if I think your question is, are you going to get serious about this? Are you going to get serious about this? Because this is not a fad. This is the new normal. You're either going to deliver a great experience that has value to your clients and your prospects, and then you have to do it relentlessly every day, every week, every month, or they're gone. There's too many big fintechs that are targeting them every minute, every day. And so I think, and I'll leave you with this, is like, we always see our job, we're like an arms dealer to the industry. We'll give, you got to make a decision. It's like, are you going to do, think you're going to beat, use, slingshots to take down people with thermonuclear weapons? Or are you going to really deploy smart technology like Sales Boomerang and Homebot? Because, no joke, our platforms, there's a reason that we're both on the call today. These two platforms, which kind of do the exact same thing in exactly opposite ways.
Yep.
These two can put you on the map and keep you on the map with all your clients and all your prospects. And of course, the extension of that spear to your realtors as well.
So I think, Luca, we're going to be jumping into Q&A here, right?
Yeah, so we're pretty low on time. We might have time for one quick question. I am going to share this with everybody. We've had some great questions come in the Q&A. Our teams have been in there answering everyone's questions, but we want to give you resources after this webinar to go get all your questions answered, dive deep into Homebot and Sales Boomerang, learn how these can help you. Here are the links for each respective team. You can jump on a demo, talk to us, learn more about our solutions. At Homebot here, we're offering an exclusive limited time promotion using the promo code FORSALE. We'll waive your $200 setup fee. You can learn more about this promotion, book a demo with our team, check out some more information for Homebot, visiting offers.homebot.ai/forsale. And then I'll pass it over to Richard to speak to how to learn more about Sales Boomerang. And if we have time to squeeze in one question, we'll do that as well.
Hey there, everyone. Just want to let everybody know that this has been awesome for us. And if you want to talk to one of our team members, we're all standing by right now. Just schedule a demo. We'll buy you coffee. Got Starbucks gift cards ready to go out to you. So let's get on to the Q&A. I think there were some great questions that I've been seeing come up. And everybody, this is the time, right? Ask the questions and we'll get to them live.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Ernie, I don't know about your time, but I'm willing to give another 10, 15 minutes extra if there's questions coming in. I blocked out the time, so let me know.
100%. I will say this, Neil Christensen. Hey, buddy, I just saw your chat. It's good to see your name pop up there. Thanks for the shout out.
So
Awesome.
what
So
questions do we have, guys?
Yeah, so one question that we saw come in was around technology adoption for real estate agents. So some lenders are saying that, it can be tough to get their agent partners to use technology with them. How do you guys think about that? How can lenders convince their agents to, share their data for Sales Boomerang or jump on Homebot and start using Homebot to work with them?
Well, I think it's a quick pitch. I mean, you don't have time to sell technology to realtors. They're completely inundated with a million different shiny objects. And that's why I go back to, I have a tool that'll keep you from getting Zillowed. And that means more listings. Is that something you'd be interested in? And I think that's the great lean in on this. That's the way you're going to get their attention, is by addressing their number one pain point, which is listings, 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 listings. So I think it's a great start. I think the other thing I would just say that I think is really powerful is that, and I think this goes obviously for Sales Boomerang and for Homebot, as a lender, when you are using a technology and you are an expert user of said technology, when you get a realtor partner to partner with you and use that technology, you're the support department. I don't want to scare you, but you're the one that's not just that's working with them, not at them. You are shoulder to shoulder with them because you understand the tech and you understand what it did for your database. You understand what it does for their database. And I think that's the subtlety here of both Sales Boomerang and Homebot, is that whatever it does for you, it can do for them.
Yep.
And that immediately you all are like, the two of you are instantly in a more of a mastermind, if you will, on how to get the most out of the same tool. You feel the same way, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, everything you're saying makes perfect sense, and you're right. They shouldn't be. You shouldn't be as lenders selling those tools. It's about having the resources and the support that you guys have. Sales Boomerang, Ernie, is just a little different in the sense that there actually isn't any tech to set up because the lender is delivering that to them, right? So when it comes to tech setup, why we've been running these kind of microscope based studies with our clients is we ran into that, Ernie. We did. We ran into realtors telling the lender, like, I don't want to set up a new piece of technology. And the minute they started to say, like, well, you don't have to. It's just the data flow. And then they're like, oh, I don't have to learn new tech. You're saying, no, you don't have to learn new tech. And by the way, that's the ease, the frictionless use of Sales Boomerang. But I've seen Homebot. I've seen how you guys operate. There isn't much set up there either. It's just this fear. People have this fear of, oh, new tech, I don't have time to do it. But the simplicity of it is really revolutionary for how easy it is to use. But as far as Sales Boomerang directly, there's no tech setup. So the question that was posted, when it comes to Sales Boomerang, there's no tech setup for the realtor at all. It's just the relationship with the lender and the trust they have to build with the lender.
So Alex, and I love that you ended it with that too, because the elephant in the room on this, as you know, as a realtor and broker, and the elephant in the room is this: you don't have sales, you don't have any tech setup, but it's the trust, and that trust is manifested as, hey, realtor, give me your database, and I can light it up for you.
Exactly.
And I think this is a really nice way of talking to, like, how Homebot and Sales Boomerang. Homebot doesn't ask for their database to go to the lender. So it's a really kind of it's like, oh, there's some tech that you got to upload it into your own account. But I think the key here, though, of the 1-2 punch here is that you start using Homebot or if you're already using Homebot with your agent partners, you're already developing that trust and saying, hey, you think that's good?
Yeah.
Got the sales boomerang thing too. All you got to do is send me your database, and we can take it to the next level.
That's exactly right. And it's the trust. The important part is the trust. Like you and I talk about this a lot, Ernie. And the trust comes from giving, right? Giving yourself without expectations of getting anything back. You give no expectations, and that's just that's probably a life lesson, Ernie. But it works well with our two organizations for sure.
You give, and you don't say trust me.
Right.
Because,
That's right.
Because what's the first thing you do with an attorney that says trust me?
Count your fingers.
Yeah, no, it's like this is a show that, this is, what is it, Missouri, the show me state.
That's
you
right.
you have to earn trust more than ever in this world.
Yep.
It's such a rare commodity, and I think this is really a nice way, the way our products work together to build that trust.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Yeah. So we could probably talk about that topic for an hour ourselves. So we'll take another question. I hope that helped, that you guys can put into chat if that answer helped you guys understand how both solutions help create that relationship between you and the realtor, and how easy it is to get it started.
Perfect. We have one that came in a couple of times on the Homebot side around non-disclosure states. Ernie, in the talk track around Homebot, kind of helping agents not get Zillowed, some folks want to know where we get data in non-disclosure states. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. So we work with a lot of, we buy data from a lot of different legitimate sources. One of the biggest ones is Black Knight Financial Services, who who basically, we utilize their data for insights in non-disclosure states. You say, well, geez, well, how do you do, if it's non-disclosure, then how do you get it? Well, so it's non-disclosure at a public level. And then at the local level, at the MLS level, that those MLSs actually will license that data into third-party systems, and then that money flows back into the realtors. And there's a lot of other ways that happens. But the net of this is this: Homebot works in non-disclosure states. There aren't as many data points, so I always get the sense that sometimes the home values maybe aren't, when they're good, they're great, but sometimes they're not good. And that sometimes you've got some sparseness there with Homebot in the non-disclosure states. But it definitely works, and we've seen a lot of success in non-disclosure states. The last thing I'll say that I think commonly gets misunderstood, and I'll just talk about home value for a second, because I think that's a really important element of the experience, because so many other factors depend on that, is that, we are really, really intentional at letting the consumer object to their value. We encourage it. We encourage the consumer to say, there's something wrong here, and then allow the lender, allow the agent to intervene and actually engage and communicate human to human. So even when maybe the accuracy isn't great in a non-disclosure state, there's still, we always sort of have that backup plan where we're going to engage. And what happens is that now the agent can actually adjust the value in real time to bump that accuracy up to 100%.
Fantastic. And then the last question we'll ask, we saw this come in a few times on both sides, is this looks like a great way to nurture your database for your real estate agents to nurture their databases. How are we getting this data into Homebot and Sales Boomerang? Do you integrate with CRMs? If so, which ones? How can lenders and agents get their data over to Homebot and Sales Boomerang?
Alex?
Yeah, so there's it's really flexible. It depends on your comfort and your ability to get data to us. Number one, we integrate with every major CRM. So that's one easy way to do it. There's also secure FTPs. There's many different ways that we can get the information. The ideal way, of course, is once we get your data, we do integrate with one of your CRMs or your marketing automation platforms, because what you want to do is create efficiencies, that's the best way I can put it, for your team, for your manpower, for your human workforce, so that when all of these opportunities, remember, we just said 13.5% could trigger in your database, but let's just bring it down to 5% for this conversation. And you have thousands of records in your database. That's a lot of opportunities that will happen every single day, every single month. And we humans tend to just pick the thing that's shiny for us, and we forget. And so once we do get the data, the question is how easy is it to get the data in the system? It's super easy, but getting it in the system is one part of the beauty of this program. It's then automatically delivering it back to you and your borrowers through your marketing automation platforms, so that your loan officers can actually continue to focus on what they're working on, and having your existing platforms put out messages to borrowers, reminders back to the loan officer, and create some tracking and analytics. So getting the data in is super easy. It's the magic that happens afterwards.
And I would just add to that, to the other end of the spectrum, cocktail napkins and fax machines. Not every loan officer, broker, depending on the size of the shop, not everybody has access or expertise to be.
How many cocktail napkins do you have stored in your garage?
I'm not kidding you. When we started Homebot, this guy gave us a big stack of papers, and there was a cocktail napkin in there with an address.
I believe it.
But the point is that, so our approach to this is, we mirror what Alex, in terms of that very elegant, automated, very technical, communication of data back and forth between the systems. But we also recognize that, because we support the individual loan officers, that they don't have that maybe infrastructure to do that, or that expertise. And so we have a customer success department that literally will work with you very closely to help you understand how to get the data out of your existing system, even manually. Yes, people still do that a lot. And then we will hand scrub that data and import it for you. And that's something that, it doesn't sound very sexy, but it is so essential, because we don't want loan officers to spend all their time scrubbing data. We're just like, give it to us any way you can.
Yep.
The goal here is you got to get that in the system so that Homebot can do its job.
Yeah, let us do the dirty work, right? That's not the fun stuff. The fun stuff is the phone calls and helping people and doing all those loans. And so, Luca, I don't know if there's another question that we can answer, or I wanted to leave everyone with an interesting thought about the world we live in right now. So I don't know if we have a question or not, or if I can leave you guys with a thought.
Leave us with a thought.
Okay, so listen, this is funny because this just sort of popped into my head a few days ago. The world we live in today, okay, I want you guys to think about this. We ride in strangers' cars. We sleep in strangers' beds. We give money to Robinhood, and we slack to get shit done, okay? That is the world we live in today. Technology and the way things are moving is evolving in a way. We give money to Robinhood instead of the other way around, okay? This is the world we live in. So embrace it. Don't run from it. Figure it out. Take it. Jason should probably have the last word here, because he's a technologist more than any of us. But this is the time to embrace it. What do you say, Jason?
I agree. We're not, you said it perfectly. We're not going back, right? We're not going back to the way things used to be, whether you like it or not. And you need to embrace these things, because the more that you don't adapt to the new way of doing things, not just adapt and just not accept change. This is the one thing, to your point, Alex. And look, we need to stop just worrying about, can we adapt to change, or can we, accept what happens? We need to start being change creators. We need to start going on the offensive to get these things done, right? So the question about tech and agents, and that's good, like, because there's not a lot of tech here that you have to get them to learn. But here's your value add as a loan officer. Help the agent, right? What is your differentiator in the market? Why are you different than every other loan officer? Because you answer your phone, right? Because you take them out to coffee and do the thing that every other loan officer does 5 before and 5 after? No, it's to be that person that they could count on to help them do the heavy lifting. Do that, be a valuable partner, and that creates lifetime relationships.
Yeah, I like that. Don't trade. What do we say, Richard? Don't trade deals for donuts. Just build those relationships, right? I'm not here to get you coffee. I'm here to help you build your business, and you're here to help me build my business. And by the way, too, I don't know if you know, Ernie, you might know this stat. I just read it earlier today, and I know we're keeping everybody on, but hey, they're not leaving, Ernie. They're not leaving us. The show is that good. 50 guys, for everyone that's still on, 50,000 agents entered the market in 2020. 50,000 new realtors said, I want to sell homes moving forward in my life, which means the competition continues to rise. That's 1.5 million agents in the market right now. By the way, 56,000 the year before that. And so look, they need you guys. Your realtors will need you now more than ever, because the market is continuing to grow and people are feeling like, yesterday my neighbor wasn't selling homes, today they are. And guess what? Your realtor now has to fight the neighbor that's now a realtor living next to me. And so how do you help them get the insights? How do you help them understand that your client is on Homebot right now trying to figure out if they need to sell something, or your client fixed their credit, or your client is qualified for something, or they're thinking about turning their property into an Airbnb. Luca, that was for you. That's the kind of insights your realtors don't have. But guess what? Ernie and Homebot and Sales Boomerang are here to make that possible. And the funny thing is, it's so easy to implement both programs. It just is. It's just easy. I don't know what else to say, Ernie. I'm trying to fill some space since people are still going to listen to us.
No, fantastic.
You got to say what Steve, our national channel manager, just threw in the chat.
What did he say?
There are more agents in the U.S. than available homes right now.
Oh, thank you. That's right. More agents than available homes. My goodness, guys.
Inventory. That's
They need those listings, Ernie. They need them.
Awesome.
Cool
Awesome. Well,
stuff.
thank you all so much for joining us today. Thanks for hanging on for a few extra minutes here while we did some Q&A.